This is one of my favorite myths, and I'm sure there are experts in the crowd that also find this frustrating. This myth has been around and will not die, and she's a big proponent of it, Jennifer Aniston. I always try to sleep. I like that one. I like that little bit of advice. But of course, water, water, water. You're supposed to just drink this ridiculous amount of water. And why are you supposed to do it? Because it will make your skin look, have you guys heard this? Drinking water will make your skin look great, and you'll glow, and you'll lose all this. You know, you're supposed to drink 8 glasses a day. Have everyone heard that myth? No evidence to support that at all, right? It just will not die, that myth. And that's, I think, because of celebrities. So sorry, Jennifer, you get next too. I actually went to see Gwyneth's doctor in Hollywood, and he told me that I should get a colon cleanse as often as possible, right? So and why do I need to do that? Because I had to clear the toxins out of my body, right? There's this extra mucus that lines our intestines. Did you guys know that? No? Gwyneth does. And what happens if you get what this colon cleanse, what does it look like when it comes out? Like tarry black mold. Not nice, right? So any evidence to support that? Absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, Gwyneth. So this is one of my very favorite examples of the impact of celebrity culture on our perceptions of what we need to do to live a healthy lifestyle. So everyone recognizes Katy Perry, right? There's Katy, one of the most famous people alive. And so when she was getting ready for this cover, the Vogue cover, she went on a cleanse, right? She took supplements and she didn't drink coffee. But basically, it was a cleanse, a detox. Now, I bet everyone in this room has heard of a detox. And if I asked that question even 6, 7, 8 years ago, it would be a very different answer. And that's because celebrities have created this trend, this idea, this belief that we're supposed to detox our bodies. So that's why she did it, because she really wanted to glow for that cover of that magazine. You know, it's not the Photoshop. It's not the genetics. It's not the world-class photographer. It's the cleanse. So to give you a sense of how popular this has become and how this really is a little bit of a cultural shift, I did this Google Trends search not that long ago. And what I have, the blue line is dieting, right? People's interest in dieting, and the other lines are detoxing and cleanse. And I think it's hilarious, you guys, how predictable human beings are. We're kind of a sad species, okay? Here's dieting down there. That's January. So we all search, you know, dieting, it's January. And then I love how, look, we get a little dip, right? And then it's like February, I'm getting back on this. And then we give up. And January comes. But look at that. And then look at how dieting has been overtaken by cleanses and detox. Really an interesting sociological phenomenon. I wonder what's going on there, and maybe perhaps we could talk about that. But without a doubt, this has become incredibly popular. For most of human history, there would be an evolutionary advantage, right, to be able to identify someone with prestige, because they probably had that reason for some evolutionarily advantageous skill. So Stan, my buddy Stan, is a good hunter. And so I identify Stan and try to learn quickly from him. And for most of human history, that would be an advantage. So they're theorizing that we've been left with the remnants of that biological tendency. Now we've got Kim Kardashian, and we've got Gwyneth, and we've got Tom Brady. But still, the effect lingers. Here's one of my favorite examples. So this is tanning. Now, again, you guys are also young, so you may not remember this, but we're close to a beach right now. So you've probably seen people, they lie out on the sand, they oil up and try to tan. Do people still do that? Yeah, here? Again, a horrible thing that you can do. Now, do you guys know, they lie there and they just baste away, right? They just baste. I'm glad you like my bacon woman. I spent a whole weekend making her. So we based away on that. Do you guys know where tanning came from, the fat? Have you heard this story? So the myth, and I think there's actually more, it's more than a myth. There's a little bit of a record to show this is the case. The story is before the 1920s, tanning was not popular. It was not viewed as an aesthetically pleasing look. And then what happened, so the story goes, Coco Chanel, a famous model and sort of a fashion icon, in the 1920s, she goes on vacation, she accidentally gets a tan, steps off the train, looks fabulous, and from there, tanning is born. And it really hasn't diminished since then. It's continued to be very popular, and again, lots of evidence that shows that this is largely a celebrity pop culture driven trend. People are making a decision to to change their body semi-permanently, right? As a result of a norm, a cultural norm that is created by celebrity culture. So why do I have the princess here? Because that's the nose that everyone wants. And it's a pretty fabulous nose, as you guys are going to find out. So you can understand why that's the case. But that is a great example of the impact that celebrity culture has. And one of the strange things is, of course, it's also transient, right? It's going to change. It's not always going to be that nose. What is the fastest growing form of cosmetic surgery right now? Someone yell it out. No one wants to. No? But someone said it. Yeah, and that's, thank you, Kim Kardashian, right? It's largely because of one data point, and that's the data point. Is that the right term? And to some degree because of that picture. But it has become a real phenomenon. Here's the actual data to show this. You don't have to read it. It's incredible the degree to which that has had an impact. And in fact, the Kardashians themselves, just that family, which is hard to believe. How did we get here, you guys? That family is impacting cosmetic surgery rates all over the world. In fact, I predict that in the near future, everyone is going to look like a Kardashian. I think that celebrities clearly have a huge impact on our lives. Here, this study, which wasn't necessarily that robust, done by the Reader's Digest, gives you a real good sense. So they did a study of who the most trusted people in the United States are. And the first three are Tom Hanks, Sandra Bullock, and Denzel Washington. Those are the most trusted people in the US. You have Alex Trebek, a Canadian, who's really, like, he's a game show host. You have below the game show host, a Nobel Prize winning chemist, and then you have another one, and then you have Dr. Oz, who's still in the top 20, which is remarkable, right? And then down here you got Johnny Depp, just above Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Supreme Court Justice. So where does Barack Obama sit on this list? He's 65th. Right? Right below Adam Sandler. That's the world we live in. The recent sugar study, right? That the big sugar actually, bought out researchers in order to get a particular result. People hear that, and it creates what's been called the war on science, right? I can't trust you anymore when you're talking about vaccination. I can't trust you anymore when you're talking about organic foods. And so we have this phenomenon happening, and I think we really need to take that seriously and think how we can build trust in science. And this breakdown in trust leads to people like Gwyneth being invited to Washington, D.C. as an expert to talk about GMOs. Here she is talking about GMOs, which is fascinating. I don't know if you guys knew this. This is an area where you have 87% of the consumers thinking that non-GMOs are healthier, right? And I've seen statistics that even have it higher than that. No evidence to support that at all. In fact, this is the area of science where there's the biggest gap between what the experts think and what the public believes. It's more than climate change, more than vaccination. You have this incredible gap between what the scientific community thinks and what the public thinks. In fact, there was a recent triple National Academy of Science study that came out, again, sort of conclusively said GMOs are not harmful to human health. Yes, I know it's a complex topic, and there are issues, around the ownership of food stocks and environmental issues. But when we're just talking about human health, I think the data to date is pretty darn clear. And I think celebrity culture has played a big role in keeping those concerns alive. Social media has changed the way health information is disseminated, and it's changed the way people talk about health information. And this is one of my favorite examples. Again, Katy Perry, she is holding up all of the supplements she takes every day. So she takes 26 separate pills a day, which is just nuts, right? She's so skinny, I don't know where they go. But she takes all those. So why do I care? Why does that bug me? Katy Perry can talk whoever she wants to. How many followers does she have? Do you guys know? Almost 100 million. 100 million. And there's interesting studies that suggest that because she's tweeting people, people feel that she's closer to them, right? And it's a parasocial relationship. So you're walking down the street and you get a tweet from Katy, and I follow her, so I get tweets from Katy. You feel like she's talking to you, right? And so interesting emerging research suggests that heightens their influence they can have. So she has 100 million followers. The World Health Organization has 3 million, right? Unbelievable. How about you guys? Let's see. Woohoo! So we're going to end talking about the 6 things that we should all do to live a healthy lifestyle. So we can ignore all that other noise, because there are just 6 things. And I believe this is true. And I put them in kind of descending order of importance. And we can have a discussion about that after, whether you agree with me or not. But what are those 6 things? Number 1, I'm just going to yell them out. Number 1 is, don't smoke. If you smoke, nothing else matters from a health perspective. The World Health Organization says it will kill 50% of the people that do it, right? And this is a real thing. I've told this story often. I was walking down, I did a thing at CBC, and I was walking down the street in Toronto. I was talking about, I believe it was gluten-free, and I was talking about sort of what I said today. And this woman came up to me in the street and said, you are so wrong. You've got to get the toxins out of, you know where this is going, right? You've got to get the toxins out of your body. Gluten is killing us, and she's smoking, right? It's just ridiculous, and that happens all the time. Number 2, so don't smoke. Number 2, get exercise, real exercise. Live an active lifestyle, and you live in a fantastic city to do that. So vigorous exercise. I love this quote, and there's many like it. Exercise easily surpasses the effectiveness of any drug or other medical treatment. I believe that to be true, and increasingly so. They have more and more evidence on that. Number 3 seems like a cheat. It seems like I'm collapsing a whole bunch of stuff into one phrase, but I think it's true. You eat real food, right? You eat lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, healthy protein. There is no magic. For most of us, there is no magic. You eat real food. Start with lots of fruits and vegetables. 50% of what goes in your mouth should be a real fruit or vegetable. And avoid the junk. But there are all these other diets out there, and I think for most of us, we can ignore the noise, focus on the real food. Number 4 is a tough one. It's a tough one, and I've actually thought about collapsing it into number 3 because it is so tough. And I've talked to my colleagues at the Obesity Network, like Arya Sharma, and he says, keep it on. Because even if people aren't losing weight, if you're thinking about weight management, your lifestyle is going to be better. And you know what? Just maintaining your weight is a good thing, right? So, and there's such a big problem right now in the developed and increasingly the developing world on this issue. Number 5, it's prevention. Wear a seatbelt. Wear a bike helmet. Get vaccinated. These kinds of very basic things. And number 6, sleep. You got to get your sleep. Get sleep. I think this is increasingly becoming important. There's more and more evidence around how valuable and how important getting sleep is. And I might put a 7th on there. You know what the 7th would be? Relationships. Having good relationships. Again, the evidence is accumulating, and how important that is. We're starting to get a body of evidence around how valuable that is. The story, of course, is ignore the bunk. Ignore that celebrity noise, right? You don't smoke. You get some real exercise doing things that you love. You eat real food that you enjoy, right? You try to maintain a healthy weight. You do the obvious prevention things. You get a good night's sleep. You love someone. Maybe not in that order, but you love someone. And that's all you really need to worry about. And then just enjoy life a little bit and put celebrity culture where it belongs as a really fun source of entertainment. So I'm going to end there and say thank you very, very much for this opportunity.